Here is the one line of code that I'm going to use to greet the user. It's one line of code in its own div. So if you want to say it's 3 lines of code, no one will kill you. But this is the line of code. What it is a plain old HTML line of code, a header 2. It says hi. Then I use the FB name element, which will substitute the name of the user. And I've used the option first name only. I've set that to true, and I specify a user ID. That is the user ID that I want to look up. Remember that Facebook uses numbers for user IDs. So I either provide the ID number of a user whose name I want to get, or I can use a constant such as logged in user. And if you look at the documentation, you will see that although user ID is required, it doesn't have to be an ID. It could be profile owner, or it can be the text logged in user, and that will be the user who is logged in. Now remember, FB name gives you the name of a user based either on the logged in user or a profile owner or a user ID. And this is a point to remember: you cannot store usernames. You can only store user IDs in Facebook. Anytime you want a username, you have to use FB name. So you're not storing the name, you're just storing the user ID. And in this case, I can call FB name simply with the string logged in user, and I will get the name for the logged in user. And then I continue the text, welcome to Main Street Pics, and that's the end of the H2 element. So I can upload this to the server, and I can now run the application. And let's see what happens if I run the application now. Okay, here I am back at the Facebook page, and I'm going to try running my application with that hello line, hi so-and-so, to greet the user by name. And let's see what happens as I launch the application. I'm loading the page, and if you watch carefully, you're going to notice something very interesting is happening. First of all, I deliberately did not log into Facebook. I have the opportunity to log in here, and I have the opportunity here to sign up for Facebook in case I don't have a Facebook account. And what FB name did when I called it, asking for the name of the logged in user, there is no logged in user because I'm not logged in, and it said hi Facebook user. That's the default value. If I'm not logged in, then it will say hi, and it will give me something that makes sense in this kind of sentence. Now I'm going to log in, and let's see what happens when I log into Facebook and how Facebook deals with the FB name element. Here we are. I've logged into Facebook. The app was running. I logged in. The page was refreshed. And now, instead of saying, hi, Facebook user, there is a logged in user, and it gives my name. This is actually the name for my developer account. So Facebook, with the FB name element, is doing the right thing to greet the user using a name if possible, and if they are not logged in, using the generic Facebook user as the name. So that code is going to work. But now let me show you how it works. I said I'd show you how that code works, and here indeed is the actual code that could make this work. Often in Facebook applications, there is a line of code here. After you create the Facebook object, this line of code calls the require login method of the Facebook object, and it stores the result in a variable often called user ID. That user ID variable is going to be the same as this user ID down here, because that is the ID number of the user who has logged in, and I have required that login. Now, if you require the login, you can't do what I just did here, which is to run the app when you are not logged into Facebook, because you've got to get the login, and that means that as a developer of an application, you will know that you have a logged in user and you have the ID number for that logged in user. Now, it is the best advice from Facebook and from other developers to minimize the use of require login, particularly on the first page. So when someone comes to the first page of your application, they can see what it does. They can be greeted perhaps generically by name, Facebook user, but they can start to interact with it, get a sense for it, and then you may put the require login call on a subsequent page where it becomes necessary. For example, if you have a tab here where you can look at your friends' pics, the things they are interested in, you have to require a login to get there, because in order to find who the friends are, you need to know who the user is. So this is an area where it makes a great deal of sense to require a login, but it doesn't make sense to require a login here. You want people to interact as much as possible before they have to log in.